I'm gonna try to do this relatively quick. As you can see, I'm going through it. Haven't cleaned the garage and I don't know. I don't even know what month it is. September, October, October. So like 10 months. I haven't been out here. I have these things here for SmallRig, whatever, for the GH6. This is the little like NATO rail clamp. So that goes here, or anywhere you want to put it, but I'm putting it here. The whole reason for this was so if I have a handle on here, if the camera's more weighted on one side, then I can move the handle to accommodate a balance. Because like if you're holding the camera centered, like if it's in the hot shoe mount, then it could lean to one side because there's going to be more weight on one of them. So then the camera's it's going to want to lean in one direction. So having it be able to be moved over like in small increments by sliding, it's just beneficial in that way. So I figured this was going to be the best bet for that. And then buying the one that has the 15 millimeter rod clamp means that I can put a rod here and then eventually get the like the follow focus ring. So that way the little rubber thing will go here, and then I have, oh my god, and then I have like a little dial or whatever. And the alternative is I could put the microphone in the hot shoe and then flip this around so it's on this side, and then the follow focus would be on that side. But whatever, the whole thing here is I wanted to have a handle that I could hold left-handed, and then I could do the follow focus with my right hand. Now, the whole thing here, that was kind of a tangent on what's going on and why this is here. I'm not sure why I had to justify that, but these carbon rods are fantastic, super light. They look really cool, but they're not threaded. So you can see that it's straight through, and I don't really understand why they're not, because you 100% can thread carbon fiber. I have the rods on the bottom, and you can see that I have the caps in them because I threaded them, and those are the carbon rods down there. So I threaded them and put the caps in. This whole front thing here is a whole different thing. I had to bore that out and flip it around because I wanted the logo on the outside because I think it looks better. And I'm just using it to hold the clamps together, or to hold the rails together. So I didn't actually need any mounting stuff because there's some holes on the back or whatever. I didn't need any of that. I just wanted the clamp and something that looked super minimalist and clean. So I bored those out and then chamfered the edges and everything, and then put the rods completely through because they used to have a stop on this side, so the rods would go in this way and then stop, and you wouldn't be able to use a cap. So this in the unmodified orientation, so it's the other way, so the logo's on the inside and it stops here. You do have like the aluminum on the end, so if you were to bump this into something, you're not going to explode a carbon rod because they don't take impacts. But this one here, open end and open end, so if something bumps into this, this rod could explode, like not like catastrophically, like someone's gonna die, but I mean, you know, it'll like they fracture, so it'll compress and it'll get cracks and then they kind of like expand or whatever. So to prevent that from happening, I want to thread this and add more caps. So that's what these are. These are the caps, and then the rods. They come in a 2-pack for the 100 millimeter ones, or 4 inches. Or so we have the rod here. This is the one that I'm going to be tapping. That's just obviously for video's sake, so I can explain it. I'm trying to do all of this at once so I don't have to edit, because I am not in a mental state where I even want to turn my computer on. And I'm currently being defeated by a plastic bag. So let's just keep this going. Okay, there we go. Awesome. I'll clean that next year. So that's the little rod right here. Literally weighs nothing because it's full carbon fiber. But as you can see, no threads, nothing in there. And it's a full straight through rod. So it doesn't have a lip or anything. They just chamfered the edge so that way you're not slicing yourself, because carbon fiber is ridiculously sharp. Now, these stupid little things right here, these little caps, These are from SmallRig also, and the thread pitch on these, they're M12 4-piece. So the two are in here, the two that I'm going to use are here. And it doesn't say the thread pitch anywhere, so I just blindly bought them, and then I used a thread gauge to actually figure out what it was, and they're M12 by 1.75. So this here, we need full threads for the depth of it, and I only have like half tapered taps or whatever, so the full threads don't start until further in. So that's to start cutting, and then the full threads get developed to about here. So I'm going to have to go about half of this thread in, so that way I can get enough full threads that this will seat properly. So now we have the tap. This is just the shop towel that I was using, and I have no idea how I'm going to wrap this up, but I pretty much just put it in here, something like this. Just kind of squish it all in. So that's going to stop the vise from crushing this while having enough force to hold it. So we can open this up. Oh my god. Just kind of squish that in there. Get it centered so it's not going to try and pinch in. And we'll just start closing that up. And I was just kind of turning it by hand, and if I can, I go another half turn. And another half turn. And that's it. Once you start threading it, it might move another little bit, so you might have to do another half turn. And now we just have to try and make sure this is level. That's why you have to use like somewhat of a tapered tap. You can't use a bottoming tap because it won't be able to start. And I just gotta make sure it's level. So right now it's leaning to the right. So if I go to the left, there we go, perfect. And I was pressing down, so it kind of has like a little bit of bite to it. And this way we have to move it back, so that's gonna be toward the left in the camera. Oh my god. Okay, there we go. So that's centered enough, and we can just go by hand and just start cutting into this. So just slowly start working it in. Just make sure it's perfectly straight, and you can even stop and check. So it's leaning a little bit to the left there, and leaning a little bit back, so I have to pull it this way just a little bit. So I'm going to back it out just to squeeze. Start it again, because we're just barely starting to cut the first portion of the thread or whatever, so we still have a tiny bit of leeway where we can make corrections, and that's it. So I can see it straight up and down there, straight up and down there, all the way around, so that's good. Now you don't need a vise to do this, because the carbon will cut really easily, which is, I mean, that probably makes sense why they didn't thread them, because you'll strip them out. You literally can only finger tighten them. But let's see. Yeah, so that's barely any resistance at all. Oh my god. Yeah, so now it's twisting in the vise, so there's too much resistance. So we'll go quarter turn. Try that. Yeah. There we go. So there's probably enough resistance on here that I'd be able to hold this by hand. Or you could also use like locking pliers in the replacement of a vise. So tighten that a little bit more. 1/8 of a turn there. Just keep going. And remember, we only need to get about half of this done. And because I've already used this to tap 4 previous holes, you can kind of see the carbon dust still on it. So we can just go until we get to pretty much where the dust stops. And that should be about the halfway point. So I'm going to tighten it a little bit more. You got to watch when you're tightening it though, because if you get too much pressure, you'll implode the rail. Okay, so it's slipping again, but I'm about halfway, so I'm just going to call that. So now when you're taking it out, you kind of want to work it back and forth just to make sure that the threads are fully developed. There we go. So that's done. That's carbon dust that will go right inside your skin, and it will give you a really bad day. Now this, oh, so you got to watch these little fibers right here too. Those things will go right in your finger, and they absolutely suck, so make sure you get those off. And I should probably be wearing gloves. Might be in good interest. Anyway, now this thread's in. Bingo bango. So that's it. Nice and clean. The little rubber grommet thing on it or whatever, it kind of adds as like a little barrier thing or whatever. So when you're putting it in, like in, that's gone forever. Like in here, the O-ring like basically clips in, like it pushes to hold resistance. So that kind of acts as a stopper for this. So that way you're not tightening the metal right up to the carbon. I don't know. It's like a little spacer-ish sort of thing or whatever, but that's it. So that one's done. I do have to take it out to do the other side because all the carbon dust goes through the tube, and it'll just fill the tube with carbon dust if I leave that on. So that's cool. Loosen this up, pop this guy out. You can see that it's not like great threads or whatever because it is into carbon, and these have a slightly different internal diameter than like metal, so it's not a fully developed thread, but it's enough that the tiny little cap isn't gonna fall out, and it'll still add enough support to it that if something bumps into it, it's not gonna like blow up the carbon rod. So there we go. Tighten this up. We're in place. You can't twist that. And let's just try and do this one pretty quick. So I'll start there, check around. There. Yeah, so that's good. I forgot it's garbage day. Great. Okay. Anyway, continuing on. Let's just get this stupid thing cut. I feel like it's about to slip. There's actually quite a bit of resistance on this side, so I probably didn't have it like perfectly straight. Okay, should be good. Work those in. Beautiful. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's cool. Now let's just kind of pop this out. Also, these little, oh god, there's some stuck in my hand. These little things right here, when you're like loosening and tightening them or whatever, when you tighten them, you can pull it up to kind of like ratchet. So I can loosen, lift it up, rotate back, loosen. So you can kind of use it like a wrench or whatever, so that way you can get the handle of this in the orientation that you want. I love them for that. So we're done with that. Let's take this. I want this, and yeah, let's have the logo on the front. So let's just toss that through, and we'll kind of snug it up So that way it's not going to slide through, because I'm trying to do all this one-handed. We'll take this stupid thing, pop it in here. There we go. Then we'll do the same for this side. Perfect. Make sure that's nice and straight all the way around. Now loosen this off again. This part right here is what I was talking about. So see how it hits? You can kind of like click it in place. So that O-ring basically holds it. And then the logo, just to be a little wiener about it, let's just make sure that's perfect. Deadly. And let's just tighten this up. Move that back out of the way, and that's good. So oh my god, I know it's gonna rain. Well, looks like I'm not getting the grass cut today. That's awesome. Another thing that I'm not gonna get done. Life is really testing me lately. Anyway, that's it. Got the stupid little thing in there, so now if something bumps it, this isn't going to explode. Acts as a nice little clean cap on this side for the clamps. I have them down here, over here. Yeah, that's it. Like I don't know. They could have threaded it and then just had like a little warning being like, hey, if you tighten these any more than finger tight, they're gonna break. But like, that's cool. I mean, like, I get it in the sense of what the threads are actually for. The threads aren't for putting a cap in, they're for putting like a little union in. It's like a little threaded piece on both ends. And it's for connecting two of them together to make a longer rail if you need it. Obviously I don't need it because this thing is tiny. That's like the whole point. Like, they could have just add a warning and save a bunch of time, because this literally took like, I don't know, this video is 17 minutes and 42 seconds long. And I did the entire thing one-handed in the garage, just like half-assed with like just a bunch of crap that I have laying around. So for like a giant company like SmallRig, this could have taken them like 2 seconds, especially since they chamfered the edges on them anyway. I don't know, man. Like, their machine could have just like chamfered the edges, tapped out, done. Put a little warning on their website being like, yo, you can't use these threads to connect them together. They're only for caps, so that way they don't explode. Cool. Awesome. Anyway, I hope this helps. I have stuff to do. And like and subscribe or whatever. Don't do anything. I don't know. I'm not telling you.